to Robin McCarthy. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, councillors. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to come along today just to speak briefly about one of my submissions, because I've actually got a couple of submissions, so I presume I'll be called back for the second one, or maybe not.
I don't think so.
Oh,
No?
okay. Just a comment for the start. I'm a tour operator. I used to run along the Summit Road, done thousands of tours up and down there, me and my former staff. And it would be useful if that road was reinstated. And I had a bit of a think about this. I think that bit round by underneath the Mount Cavendish where the gondola is, maybe come along there, the saddle that precedes it, and drill a hole through the top of the mountain. It'll only be a short one, and it would get rid of all the problems of ongoing rockfall, rebuild the road and everything else, and it might be worthy of investigating the cost of that and compare it with the cost of repairing the existing road. Anyway, I move on to the asset sales, which I do support. I think you might need to raise additional capital over and above the $750 million which you're proposing to probably block the shortfall in your finances. But I'm a little bit concerned about the method that you've chosen for these asset sales and by way of inviting strategic partners. There's no definition of what a strategic partner is. I've read that it's rumoured that it could be someone like Ngāi Tahu. Why not Bob Jones? I think he'd be a great strategic partner. Got a good track record, could even be me. Not that I got much money, but if the deal was good enough, I could probably raise some. So I think that it is an issue that you should really consider seriously. I believe that the original structure of the Port of Lyttelton was ideal. It was partially floated, you had a value for your shares every day, they were trading on the market. And when it comes to selling another tranche of shares, it was a very efficient way of doing it. You could probably put out the tender to a number of brokers as to what sort of commission they might charge when you put an extra tranche up front on the market. I think that would be a better way of selling the others as well. I'm not sure why the council bought back their existing stake in the port company. I would query that. I don't think it was a wise move. But anyway, and of course, if you're going to invite strategic partners in at the moment, how are you going to value the shares? Okay, you can go around several companies and they'll come back with a value of some kind, but is that going to return the maximum to the council? I'm not sure about that. And then if you've got a strategic partner who you fall out with, then how are you going to get rid of them? The other thing too, of course, they might hold you over a barrel when it comes down to selling them. And, you know, when you get a situation like this, you've got a strategic partner, if the relationship sours, then that could cause other problems too. And there's also the chance that you might get a bit too yummy-chummy with your strategic partner. Whereas if it's publicly listed, like Port of Lyttelton was, well, you know, if things aren't right, they just sell their shares. And if the council if they are publicly listed, say 49% stake, at some point in the future when the council's finances come right, and they want to re-enter the market, it's a pretty easy way of doing it. So that's about all I've got to say on that one. And as for the Christchurch Canterbury tourism submission, I've said it all before, I'm just repeating it, you'll all read it, and I would hope that you might take it on board and do something about it. All we're looking for is transparency, accountability on the accounts. We want to know where they're making the grants to. We know where they're making some. I'll give you one. They're giving conference innovators $5,000. One of the former board members on the trust board. These issues have got to be resolved. I can assure you that there is a lot of things which are not in the audited accounts, and I'm asking for a forensic accountant to be appointed to have a look through it. And if you want a heads up on where some of these grants are going, then I can give you that. But they need to be held to account. I'm a stakeholder in the tourism industry, and I don't see any reason why I can't attend the board meetings. I said it time and time again. If they are preventing us from attending the board meetings, then they've got something to hide. Now, the structure was exactly the same down at the Mackenzie District Council, and I never had a problem with me attending their board meetings. I just rang them up one day and said, you mind if I come? No, great, come on down. And half time we had a coffee, and I don't see why it shouldn't be the same here. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Rev.
CCT's stuff we've talked about a lot, but I just want to talk about the assets. In terms of strategic partners, what we mean by that is a partner that is going to add value and is aligned with our strategic goals. Now, in terms of buying the shares back, ultimately, and actually dealing with any other issue, it's about the shareholders' agreement that you draft up. And the shareholders' agreement will always include things like preemptive rights, which means you have the right to buy that stake back, which is the same arrangement we have with the government in terms of the airport. They own 25%. We have the first right of refusal to buy that back. In terms of the port, I mean, the reason we bought that back is because we wanted to have control over the future direction of the port. The problem is we had a shareholder that had a blocking stake and actually had no interest in doing anything with the port. It was actually there in a way to block our port actually improving its performance and getting better partners in. But also it was, and because of that, it actually traded at a discount to the market. And if we had gone to the market...
And the question is, sorry.
Well, this is an explanation.
I know, but we're running out of time.
Okay.
So.
No, I mean, this is quite important because he's asking the question in a way, and I'm trying to answer, is that we would have got a discount if we wanted to sell on the open market. Now, the actual value of the port in an open market at the moment is around 20 times EBITDA, which is about 35 million, which is 700 million. So it's trading at 300 million. So it's actually, on those terms, it was actually undervalued. So that's... Cool.
I think they should probably, if you're going to do something, move quite quickly because the returns for some of these companies is definitely declining. We saw that with the drop-off in the tonnage of coal going through the port, and most certainly the airport out there is losing a lot to Queenstown. I'll just make one more comment. As far as the airport here is concerned, why don't they go and investigate buying a stake in the likes of Brisbane Airport or some other major airport in Australia and flick the aeroplanes here, because that's exactly what Auckland's doing to Queenstown.
We have a number of very significant challenges, and you've nailed one of them. So thanks very much, Robin. Good to see you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Julian Newman.